صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم.
The first words that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were the verses Iqra, to recite, and not just a recitation that is based upon custom or culture, but Allah ta'ala says Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, read in the name of your Lord who created. So here the reading, the recitation is in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a sacred recitation, and it's reciting that which is sacred, i.e. that which comes from beyond seven heavens. And the Prophet ﷺ in that stead has stressed the importance of knowledge. When the Prophet ﷺ speaks about utlub al-ilm min al-mahdi ila-lahdi, seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave, that shows us the importance of knowledge. Whoever Allah Ta'ala wants good for, He gives him fiqh of the religion. Knowledge comes through education. So therefore education is principial, it's central to Islam. We are an ummah of education. We are an ummah of knowledge. We are an ummah of learning. And whenever you remove education and learning and erudition from the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, it becomes an ummah that is ultimately vanquished, defeated, and cast into oblivion, far from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Greensville Trust is an organisation that was set up in Liverpool. The driving force behind it being Shaykh Ibrahim Osi Efa, and that's from the blessings of the individual there. He's had a vision. We have to have institutions that provide education at all levels.
We have people who actually educate themselves, and then actually from that they go and do something with it. It's not simply the fact that I've just learned something and khalas, that's it, you know what I mean, I know my deen. It's about, no, you know something, now go and convey it. I think that's the primary three aims of the trust. Is one is knowledge, without a doubt, is knowing your Lord, knowing what's required from you, like faradain. Second is implementation. There's no point in knowing a lot of knowledge and a lot of resources and a lot of quotes, etc., but they haven't impacted you, so it's about implementing them changes. And third is conveyance. So I think Greensville actually looks at trying to capture all that.
It looks at delivering the trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon humanity, placed upon Banu Adam, which is delivering the trust of servitude and worship and recognition of the Lord of all being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that trust is ultimately fulfilled by the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not only in terms of his personage, but also in terms of the environment in which he sort of engendered or brought about. And that is why the trust is called Greensville. Green here is symbolic for prophecy, and what the veil is symbolic for the community. So here what we're speaking about is the prophetic community is integral in the fulfillment of the trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon the human being.
Greensville Trust has established a micro-madrasa, and there are other projects as well in terms of schooling for children, there's outreach programs. All of these different programs are possible because the institute itself is geared towards providing education. Education itself is ultimately the bedrock of a Muslim community. The nature of a Muslim community is that it must have education, it must have Islamic religious education based upon an orthodox understanding taken from reliable authoritative scholars. And with that, an Islamic and a Muslim community can flower, it can flourish. Without that, it will always remain as it is now.
And it's a madrasa, i.e. that it's a place where people can access not just traditional teachings, but also sacred teachings, i.e. teachings that concern every single human being who has been given this trust of moral and legal obligation, okay, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it teaches the rudimentaries of the faith. Ultimately, it's all about literacy. Literacy in those elements of the faith that are obligatory upon each and every single Muslim to know, i.e. what is known as fard ayn knowledge. So you learn theology, and you learn jurisprudence, fiqh, and you also learn the spirituality inside of the religion.
The Trodden Path is an annual course that is run every single year in the beautiful village of Nant in Wales. What this course actually does, it gives students an opportunity to sit and take from some of the bearers of the prophetic tradition in our age.
These blessed human beings, these teachers who carry this prophetic legacy, once a year they come over and they share the knowledge that they have, and students are able to benefit directly from them.
We literally take over an entire village for 10 days.
We bring teachers, some of our esteemed teachers from the Arabian Peninsula, to come and impart some of the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon them through a transmission that is sacred, that leads all the way back to the Prophet in and of himself, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
The teachers have brought the well to those who are thirsty. Yani, we don't have to travel abroad to seek what we're looking for.
What are the meadows of paradise? What are the gardens of paradise, O Messenger of God? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Hilak al-dhikr. He said, the circles of remembrance, i.e. sacred circles, the circles of knowledge, where the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is dispersed, is taught, is learned, is embraced. And that in essence is what Felicity House is. I.e. in Arabic it was named as-sa'ada, felicity. And as-sa'ada in the Arabic language always relates to paradise. It's paradisial.
Understanding of their religion, building communities, and to be actually involved in a community project as an architect has been an absolute honour really. And the philosophy of what Greensville Trust stands for in terms of educating the kids, educating adults, is something that really is close to my heart, and as being able to combine that as an architect has been a real privilege really.
In the hadith he spoke about a person who helps to build a masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build for him a palace in heaven.
A nursery that takes up to 60 children. You'll have inside each other a cafe. Upstairs you'll have lecture theatres, classrooms, office space, and also a prayer area. And it's kind of sad because like Liverpool claims that the first masjid in the whole of the UK, but it seems like we stopped after that. Yeah, there's nothing else that we've really done apart from that. I mean, there's the odd 1 or 2 masajid now, but compared to other cities and the rivalries of Manchester, which are 30 minutes down the road, yeah, you can see a vast difference. It's like night and day.
How can we renovate the building? How can we reorganise the internal spaces so that it suits the needs of the trust? And essentially what we've come up with is we've given the ground floor to the nursery for the children, and we've created the first floor for adult education.
The epicenter of it is that which is the prayer of light. Okay, there's a prayer room. This epicenter is that prayer room of light, which is called Nur. It was termed Nur by our teachers. The entire project is surrounded by gardens, by meadows. Okay, gardens and meadows that will reflect the original beauty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He crafted the entire universe in.
The primary significance of a garden to a Muslim is that it is a representation and a foretaste of the gardens of paradise. Well, it has many meanings, the garden, many significances. It is about paradise in the outside world, but of course it's also about paradise of the heart. It's about the inner paradise. We want peace and we want beauty in our lives, because peace is the only word spoken in paradise. So The Islamic garden should be a place of contemplation, a place of quiet and serenity. It should be a sanctuary from the outside world. And indeed, when you make this garden, inshallah, in Liverpool, part of it will be, we hope, a formal Islamic garden with water in the centre, probably in a fountain.
And Greensville Trust requested that I go out to Morocco and meet some local tradesmen there. So what we intend to do is create like a Masharabi screen that actually, with some doors in there, quite grand arch doors, and this actually functions in terms of dividing the space to work as classrooms, or on a big event you actually can open the whole space out and it can open up as a multifunctional or multifunctioning large hall.
Al-ma'ani qabla al-mabani. That meanings always precede physical form. Okay? Like, i.e. education precedes institutions. Okay? But institutions are always important. Education is going to be imparted by people. Institutions are going to facilitate for people to impart that education. And there's no doubt whatsoever that the meanings are now descending upon the island. Our parents brought great meanings because they came from lands of Islam when they migrated to this island. But one of the things they understood once they landed, the importance of building edifices, institutions that those meanings could now be housed into. So we saw a generation of builders, and they gave birth to a generation of slackers, of people who are not interested in building something that goes beyond their life, but are more so interested in building things that are going to be terminated and separated from them when they do die. They'll be left behind in a negative sense inside of the will.